the learning sponsors together, and then we'll get rolling, okay?
Okay.
Hopefully the other guys will be jumping on board. Year of learning is Sue and Aaron Garlic in memory of Malka Perlman and Philip Mann. And Yisrael David ben Arav Tzvi Hirsch, Beryl ben Arav Tzvi Hirsch, Yosef Meir ben Arav Tzvi Hirsch, and Yerivka Pearl Lesnar Bas Arav Tzvi Hirsch, and those murdered in the Holocaust, Arav Tzvi Hirsch ben Shlomo Yaakov, Sarah bat Ephraim, Yisrael David ben Arav Tzvi Hirsch, Ephraim ben Arav Tzvi Hirsch, Adia bas Arav Tzvi Hirsch, Miriam bas Arav Tzvi Hirsch, Kessel bas Arav Tzvi Hirsch, Shlomo ben Arav Tzvi Hirsch, Shlomo Yaakov ben Arav Tzvi Hirsch, Shmuel ben Arav Tzvi Hirsch. Shall assure her children and grandchildren in memory of her uncle, founding member of BRS, Dr. Israel Brook, Yisrael ben Arav Akiva, Marcia Federbush and family in memory of her husband, Dr. Ariel Paul Federbush, Ariel Pinchas ben Arav Shimon, Sharon and Fred Lisker, their family and many friends, in memory of her dear mom, Harriet Freeman Edelbas Yaakov, Leslie and Gail Kaplan, in memory of their parents, Harry and Marjorie Sedal, Irving and Pearl Kaplan, friends of Avi Gitler, Avram Meir ben Shimon, and Martha Gitler, Charna Bas Yeshaya, friends of Toby Paris, Sarah Tova bat Yisrael Dov, friends of Malka Levi, Malka bat Yosef, friends of Joe Wolf, Yosef ben Chaim, many friends of Dr. Marvin Blush, Moshe Shalom ben Yitzchak Halevi. A month of learning, Helen and Mel Haller, in memory of her father, Yosef Eliezer ben Tzvi Hirsch, Stanley Presser, his wife, Chayaleah Bas Zeva Cohen, Mendel and David Cheslow, her mother, Shosha Bat Ber Leib. Week of learning, also in memory, Haviva Hachsen, the Sulzberger, her late husband, Ephraim ben Yitzchak Aryeh, and Vernon Sulzberger, her mother, Malka Bas Yisachar, Marcia and Yari Schrager, her father, Shmuel ben Meir. And that is it. May the Shemas heaven Leah, Craig Rafiq, Healthy Shem Shemat Leah, L'chol Ben Israel, good Ben Shiar. Okay. All right. We are going, starting with the Mishnah on Lamed Daled, Lamed Tet, right? Amud Aleph Mishnah starts up again with the discussion of dealing with the two goats, one for Azazel, one for Hashem. Okay, Matnitin, says our Mishnah. Taraf Bekalpi, the Kohen Gadol reached into and started mixing up the tablets, the lots, right, inside the lottery box. And he took out two lots. Echad katuv alav l'Hashem, one written for Hashem. Echad katuv alav l'Azazel, one written for Azazel. Haskan b'yamino v'rosh beidav mismolo. The deputy high priest on one side to the right, and the head of the patrilineal family on the left. Im shel shem alav yamino, if the lot with the Hashem's name on it was in his right hand, Haskan Omerlo, the vice deputy high priest, says to him, Ishi Kohen Gadol, Hagba'a Yamincha. Kohen Gadol, raise your right hand. The Im shel shem alav b'smolo, and if it was in his left, Rosh Beidab Omerlo, Ishi Kohen Gadol, Hagbe Smolecha. And if it's in his left hand, the head of the family says, lift your left hand. The Tanam al Shnei HaSeirim. He then places the lots on top of the two goats, and he says as follows: Lashem Chatat, okay, that one goes for a Chatas offering. Rabbi Yishmael Omer says, Lo hayat tzarich lomar Chatas. That according to Rabbi Yishmael, he didn't have to say the word Chatat. Ela Lashem. V'heinanim achorav, and the people answer, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Ba'ed. Blessed be the name of his glorious kingdom forever and all time. Gemara asks the question now, Lama li taref bekalpi? Why was it necessary for the Kohen Gadol to reach his hands and mix up the lots in the lottery receptacle? Ki hechi delo nechaven v'lishkol. So he doesn't intentionally pick out a certain one, a particular one, namely the one marked for Hashem. Okay, Amar Rav, this is Rav. Kalpi shel eitz haita. The receptacle was made out of wood. V'shel chol haita, and it was unconsecrated. Ve'ena mechazeket ela shtei yadayim, and it only was large enough for him to put in his two hands. Matkifla Ravina. Ravina challenged this and said, Bishlama eina mechazeket ela shtei yadayim. That's okay if you say it only held his two hands. So he can't intentionally choose a particular one, right? But if you say it was unconsecrated, nikadsha, it should be sanctified. In Cain, hayala kli sharet shel eitz. If that's the case, he said, if it was a sacred vessel made of wood, okay, how could that be? Because we don't make sacred vessels made out of wood. V'na avdad de kesef. So let it be made from silver. V'na avdad de zahav. Well, let it be made from gold. Why then? What could we argue that it was made out of wood? HaTorah chasa al mamonam shel Yisrael. That the Torah spares the money of the Jewish people. Let's go on. The Gemara comments then as follows: Matnitin deloki hai Tana. Our Mishnah cannot be according to the following Tana. The Tanya who taught in a Braita, Rabbi Yehuda Omer Mishum Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Yehuda said in the name of Rabbi Eliezer, Haskan v'Kohen Gadol machnisin yadan bekalpi. That these other two people, the deputy and the head of the family, put his hands. Okay? I'm sorry, the deputy and the Kohen Gadol put his hands into the receptacle. Im b'yamino shel Kohen Gadol ola, if it came up in the right hand of the Kohen Gadol, Haskano Merlo Ishi Kohen Gadol Hagbe Yamincha. Im b'yamino shel Skan ola, if it came up in the right hand of the Kohen Gadol, the deputy told him, raise your right hand. If it came up in the right hand of the deputy, Rosh Beit Avo Merlo Kohen Gadol Daber Milech. The head of the family said to the Skan, all right, speak your word. In other words, tell the Kohen Gadol what to say. V'nema le Skan. And shall we say, asks the Gemara, that the deputy would speak this way, okay? Kevan delo salik bidei chashadate. Since the lot didn't come up in the Kohen Gadol's hand, wouldn't that discourage the deputy from speaking at all? But my kamiflage, what are they then arguing about? Okay, Mar savar yamina diskan adif mismola de Kohen Gadol. Okay, that one master felt the right hand of the deputy was preferred over the left hand of the Kohen Gadol. Umar savar ki hadade minhu. And the other master felt that they were basically equivalent. Uman hai Tana, the Paligale the Rabbi Yehuda. And who is this Tana that disagreed with Rabbi Yehuda? Rabbi Chanina Skan HaKohanim. It's Rabbi Chanina who himself was a deputy high priest. Okay, the Tanya is taught elsewhere in the Braita. Rabbi Chanina Skan HaKohanim Omer, he said, Lama Skan Mimino. Why is the deputy on his right side?
Excuse me, Rabbi Green, can I ask you where you're up to?
Okay, we're about 2/3 down on Lamed.
You're in the Gemara.
In the Gemara, right. Okay.
That's Lamed Tes,
Okay.
not Lamed.
Yeah, Lamed Tet. Lamed Tes, Amud Aleph. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's where we are.
Thank you.
Okay, sure. Okay. Okay, so actually we're about 2/3 down the page. Okay, it's just
That's all right, I'll find it.
yeah, okay.
Good morning, everyone.
morning. Okay, so Rabbi Hanina Skan was challenging Rabbi Yehuda, bright. Okay, so he said, why was the deputy on the right side? Okay, she'imi rabo pasul b'kohen gadol. If there was some aspect that would disqualify, make the kohen gadol invalid, right? Nichnas skan u'mishamesh tachtam. Then the skan, the deputy, can come in and act in his place. Okay, we now get to a new brighter, right? Tanu Rabbanan. Arba'im shana sheshimei Shimon hatzadik haya goral ala b'yamin. The sages said that for 40 years that Shimon hatzadik acted as the Kohen Gadol, the lot always came in his right hand. Mikan ve'elech pa'amim oleh b'yamin, pa'amim oleh b'smol. After that, sometimes it was the right, sometimes it was the left. V'haya lashon shel zohorit malbin. Okay, and there was this strip of crimson, right? And what happens? It would always turn from red to white. Mikan va'elach, from here on, in other words, after the time of Shimon HaTzadik, pa'amim malbin, pa'amim eno malbin. Sometimes it turned, sometimes it did not. V'haya ne'ema aravi dolek. And always we say that not only that, but the Western lamp would always burn continuously. Okay, what happens? Mikan ve'elech pa'amim dolek pa'amim kabah. From that time, after the 40 years of Shimon HaTzadik, at times the Western lamp continued to burn, at times it did not. So the Gemara picks up. Furthermore, v'haya esh al ha'ma'aracha mitgaber, and the fire on the wood arrangement on the mizbeach would burn strongly, right? V'lo hayu kohanim tzrichim havi eitzim l'ma'aracha chutz mishnei gzirei eitzim. And then there was no need for the kohanim to bring any further wood onto the arrangement on the regular basis on the main altar. Except if they wanted to fulfill the mitzvah of adding wood. Mikan ve'elech, but again, after the 40 years of Shimon HaTzadik, pa'amim mitgaber, pa'amim ein mitgaber. At times it burned strongly, at times it did not. V'lo hayu kohanim nimna'im milahavi eitzim mila'aracha kol hayom kulo. And as a result, the priests, the Kohanim, did not hesitate, I'm going to say, to avoid bringing wood, all right, so that the ma'aracha would burn the entire day. Furthermore, v'nishlacha bracha ba'omer, and also in those 40 years, a blessing always was associated with the omer, the new grain offering, u'b'shtei halechem. Okay, and with the 2 loaves associated with Shavuot of the new wheat, uvelechem hapanim, and the showbread for Shabbat. The kol kohen shemagio kazayit yesh ochel v'saveya, and any kohen who ate from these things, even if he ate as much as a small amount like a kazayas, he was satisfied. V'yesh ochlo umotir. And there were some that ate and didn't even need that much, and they were satisfied and had leftovers. Mikan ve'elech, from that point after Shimon HaTzadik, right? Nishtalcha me'ira ba'omer. What happened after that point? A curse was upon the omer, right? Uv'shtei halechem, and on the 2 loaves, and on the lechem hapanim, and on the showbread. B'chol kohen magio kafu. Okay, and any kohen, excuse me, who wanted, all right? I'm sorry, not kafu, kipul, all right? Yeah, b'chol kohen magio, and each kohen only received a small amount, like a bean. And then remember, that amount is questionable even to be Yotze. It should have been as kazayas, right? Hatznu'in moshchin et yedehem. Okay, those Kohanim who were more, let's say, tsanua, more modest, right? They took their amount, a small amount, all right? They withdrew their hands, okay, not taking any. And those Kohanim who were the Garanim, those who were the hungry ones, let's call it. Notlin vochlin, they would come and take. Umaaser, I'm sorry, be'echad shnatal chalkol v'chilek chavero v'ayu korin oto ben hamtza ad yom moto. Okay, and there was once a situation, says the Gemara, as we begin to turn the Amud, where somebody took the portion of his neighbor, and as a result, they earned him the nickname son of a robber until the day of his death. Okay, we're now on the top of Amud Beis. Okay, Chamtzan ad Yom Moto. Okay, the Gemara picks up asking about this supposed nickname. Amar Rabba Bar Shela, my Kra. What does it mean when it referred to him in that the verse? Namely, there's a pasuk that says, "Okay, palteni miyad rasha mikaf meivel v'chometz." Oh Hashem, rescue me out of the hand of the wicked, out of the hand of the unrighteous and robbing man. Rabba Amar mehacha. He suggests it comes from a different pasuk. Lemdu hetev dirshu mishpat yishru chamotz. Learn to do well, seek justice, strengthen those who have been robbed. Yishru chamotz va'al te'ashru chometz. Namely, strengthen those who are robbed, but don't give strength to the robber. Okay. Coming back to the story of Shimon HaTzadik, right? More Agadita. Tanu Rabbanan, says the Braita. Ota Shana, Shemeit ba Shimon HaTzadik, Amar lehem. That same year that Shimon HaTzadik died, he told his fellow Kohanim the following, okay? B'shana zo humeit, that I'm going to be dying this year, he will die, implying he himself, okay? Amrulo, and they said to him, Minayin ata yadea, how do you know this? Amar lehem, he said to them, B'chol yom haKippurim, hayam mizdamein li zakein echad. Every Yom Kippur, there was, along with me, an old man, okay? Lavush levanim va'atuf levanim. He was dressed in white and wrapped in white, okay? Maybe he had like a talus over his head or a turban, who knows? Nechnas imo, imi, v'yatsa imi. He entered the Kodesh Kadoshim with me, and he exited with me. V'hayom, mizdamem li zakein echad. Okay, this day, there was, along with me, an elder, right? Lavush shchorim, va'atuf shchorim. He was dressed in black and wrapped in black. Nechnasimi v'lo yatsaimi. He entered with me, but he did not exit with me. Achar haregel chala shevat yamim v'meit. After the holiday of Sukkot, he stayed alive merely 7 days, and then he died. So what happens? Says the Gemara, V'nimneu echav haKohanim milavarech b'shem. As a result of the death of Shimon HaTzadik, the Kohanim, then were held back from using the name of Hashem in the Birkat Kohanim. In other words, not that they didn't use the name, but they sort of reworked the name. Okay. Now, again, more Rabbanan. Tanu Rabbanan. 40 shana kodem churban habayit. Lo haya goral ola biyamin. For 40 years, we said during the time of Shimon HaTzadik, okay, it always went in his right hand. But for 40 years prior to the destruction of the temple, Lo haya goral ola biyamin. It never went up into the Kohen Gadol's right hand. Lo haya lashon shel zohorit malbin. And the strip of crimson, okay, did never change its color to white. Lo haya ner ma'aravi dole. And we say also that the westernmost candle did not continue to burn. Okay, going on, what happens? So, Vayu dlatot ha'echal niftachot me'alehen, and the doors of the sanctuary would open by themselves. Ad shega'ar behen Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai, until they were yelled at, so to speak, scolded by Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Amarlo, and he said, Heichal, Heichal, sanctuary, sanctuary. Neima atamav it atzmacha. On what basis do you frighten yourself? Yodea ani b'cha, shesofcha ativ lecharev. I know about you, that your end is ultimately to be destroyed. Ukfar nitna be alecha Zechariah ben Ido, and it was already prophesied by Zechariah, the son of Ido, Patach levanon delatecha v'tochal esh ba'azorecha. You open your doors to Lebanon, and the fire will devour your cedars. That's from Zechariah chapter 11. Lebanon here implying the Beis HaMikdash, because it was built through the cedars of Lebanon. Amar Reb Yitzchak ben Tavlaya, he came and said the following: Lama nikra shmo Lebanon? Why? Shemalbin avonoteim shel Yisrael, because it whitens the sins of the Jewish people. Amar Rav Zutra bar Tuvia, he suggests as follows: Lama nikra shmo Ya'ar? Why was it called the forest of Lebanon? Beit Yar Halvanon, like in the Book of Kings, the house of the forest of Lebanon. Lamar lecha Mayar melavlev af Beit Hamikdash melavlev. The same way that a forest blossoms, so the Beis Hamikdash blossoms. Ba'amar Rav Oshaya, b'sha'ah shebana Shlomo Beit Hamikdash, natabo kol minei migadim shel zahav. At the time that Solomon built the Beit Hamikdash, excuse me, he planted all sorts of items, fruit trees that produced gold. And they would occasionally bring forth fruit. And once the wind blew on them, then the fruit would fall. Shneimar, as it says, the fruits rustle like the Lebanon. Umehem haita parnasah lekahuna, and from them these became a source of income for the Kohanim. Going on, v'kevan shenichnesu goyim lahechal, and once the Gentile nations entered the temple, right? What happened? Yavshu, they dried up, they rotted. Okay, Shneimar uperach levanon umla, the blossoms of Lebanon withered. V'atida kadosh baruch hu lahachzira lanu, and in the future Hashem will return them to us, bring them back. Why? Because of the pasuk, paroach tifrach v'tagel af hilat v'ranein kvod halvanon nitam la. It will blossom abundantly, it will rejoice, the glory of Lebanon will return, will be given to it. Okay, now, back to our story of the lottery. Matnan, like al shnei haseirim, that he would put the two lots on each of the goats. Tanu Rabbanan, says the Braita, Eser Pa'amim, Maskir Kohen Gadol et Hashem bo bayom. There were 10 times that had the Kohen Gadol mentioned the name of Hashem. Shlosha b'vidui rishon, 3 in the first confession, Ushlosha b'vidui sheni, 3 in the second confession, Ushlosha b'sa'ir hamishtalech, 3 in regarding the goat that was sent away, ve'achad b'goelot, and 1 in regards to the lots. Ukvar Amar Hashem, but he's already said the divine name, so challenges the Gemara. V'nishma kolo b'richo, and supposedly that was heard all the way out to Jericho. Amar Rabba bar Bachana, what did Rabba bar Bachana tell us? Yerushalayim b'richo asara parsaot, that distance was like 10 parsecs. What happened? Now, it was like other miracles regarding the temple. But Sir Daltot Ha'ichal, Nishma B'Shmona Tchumei Shabbat, and the closing of the doors of the temple could be heard at a distance of 10 Shabbat, 8 Shabbat limits. Izim Shebiricho Hayu Mit Ashtrot Mireach HaKatoret, that the animals, the goats that were in pens in Jericho, would sneeze as a result of the odor of the incense. Nashim shebiricho enan tzrichot lehidbasein mireach ketoret. The women in Jericho did not even need to put on perfume because of the odor of the ketoret. Kala shebiyushalayim enan tzricha lehidkashet mireach ketoret. And a new bride in Jerusalem did not need to adorn herself with perfume because of the fragrance of the incense. Now, Amar Rabbi Yossi ben Dogai, he said as follows, Izim hayula abba bahavei, Michmah. He said that his father had goats in the hills of Michmah, which was some distance from Jerusalem. And they would sneeze from the smell of the incense. Amar Rabbi Chia bar Avin, he said, Amar Rabbi Yoshua ben Karcha, in the name of Rabbi Yoshua ben Karcha, Sachli zakein echad. An old person once told me, Pa'am echad halachti l'Shilo. One time I went all the way to Shiloh, v'hirachti reach ketoret mibein kotla, and I could still smell the odor of the incense in its walls. Okay, and remember, this was the fact that Shiloh was the place of the Beis Hamikdash, the Mishkan, okay, actually many, many years before him. Okay. New piece. Back to our lottery. Amar Rabbi Yanai, says Rabbi Yanai, his argument is as follows. Aliyat Goral Mitoch Kalpe, the lifting, the drawing of the lot from the receptacle, ma'akevet, it is required, it's indispensable part of the avoda. Hanacha, putting it actually on the animal, okay, eina ma'akevet, it does not, it is not indispensable. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, af aliyah eina ma'akevet. Rabbi Yochanan disagrees and says even drawing it from the receptacle is not indispensable. Aliba de Rabbi Yehuda, in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, the Amar, who said, Dvarim hane'asim b'bigdei lavan mibachutz lo ma'akva. Those things done, worn by the white garments of the Kohen Gadol, okay, are not indispensable. Okay, Kule alma la plige de lo ma'akva. Everybody agrees that the drawing of the lots is not indispensable. Kipligi, where do they disagree? Aliba de Rabbi Nehemiah, on the view of Rabbi Nehemiah, which was the following: Man da Amar Ma'akva, the one who says that it's indispensable. Rabbi Nehemiah. It was like the view of Rabbi Nehemiah. It's indispensable. Uman da'amar lo makva. The one who says that it is that it's not indispensable. Hanimili avoda. Okay, this implies that it is part. That only would apply if it were part of the service. Hagrala lav avodahi. But the drawing of the lots and they're pulling them out of the receptacle is not part of the avoda. Now, ikeda amri. There are some who argue that the version of the dispute was somewhat different. And this is what they said. Aliba the Rabbi Nehemiah, according to the view or opinion of Rabbi Nehemiah, Da'amar Ma'akva, who says that the putting of drawing the lots and putting them on the animal, okay, that is indispensable. Kuli amalo plige de ma'akva. Everybody agrees that it's indispensable. Kipligi, where do they argue? Aliba the Rabbi Yehuda, in regards to the view of Rabbi Yehuda. Man da'amar lo ma'akva. Who is it that says then that it's not indispensable? Sha'ani hacha, that it's different here. The Tana Beikra. Why? Because the pasuk teaches Asher Allah, which is on it. Asher Allah trezimne says which came up on it 2 times. Now, Meitive will challenge us with the following: mitzvah lahagril. It is a mitzvah, excuse me, to draw the lots. Ve'im lo hegril kasher. This, according to this Braita, even if they did not draw the lots, the designation of the animals is valid. Bishlema, that's acceptable. Lahach lishna da'amrat, according to the language of a Braita that says, Aliba the Rabbi Yehuda, Kuli Amar lo plige de lo ma'akva, that according to Rabbi Yehuda, who says everybody is in agreement, right? Namely that it's both Rabbi Yanai and Rabbi Yochanan. Okay, that the drawing of the lots is not indispensable. Hamani, who is that? Rabbi Yehuda. That's the view of Rabbi Yehuda. We'll just go over a tiny bit onto 40. Ela lahach lishna da'amart. But according to the other version, pligi, they disagree. Bishlama leman da'amar lo ma'akva. That's acceptable to the ones who say really that Rabbi Yani and Rabbi Yochanan disagree. Okay, according to the view of Rabbi Yehuda. Hamani, who is that view? That is the view of Rabbi Yehuda. Leman da'amar ma'akva, Hamani. But according to the one who says that they argue that it's ma'akva, that it's indispensable, Tani mitzvah lahaniyah, which teaches them then that it is a mitzvah to put the lottery lots on the animals. And that's where we're going to stop. Okay? And we'll pick up, God willing, tomorrow. And hopefully I'll be over with this cold tomorrow too.